Chapter 1. The Woman Who Left. The clock above the ceremonial desk reads 11:18 a.m. My wedding crown is beginning to hurt. It is a delicate thing made from white gold and tiny moonstones, designed by my own hands for the day Queen Seraphine promised she would finally choose me in front of the entire kingdom. Now it feels less like a crown, and more like something holding my skull together. Seraphine stands 10 feet away, with her phone pressed against her ear. She has not looked in my direction for 43 seconds. I know because I have counted every one of them. The royal registrar has stopped arranging the documents. The witnesses have stopped whispering. Even the musicians near the marble staircase have lowered their instruments without being told. Everyone in the chamber understands that something has changed. I am the only person still pretending it has not. Seraphine ends the call. Elara. She says my name in the tone she uses before delivering a decision she has already made. What happened? Celeste has been injured. For one humiliating second, my first feeling is not sympathy. It is recognition. Celeste. Her first love. The woman whose name has entered every important moment of our relationship without ever being invited. Is she in danger? I ask. She says she needs me. My hands tighten around the silver roses in my bouquet. Behind Seraphine, the registrar quietly closes the marriage ledger. Send your physician, send the royal guard, send anyone she needs. Seraphine's expression hardens by 1 degree. You do not understand. No, I say. I think I finally do. She steps closer and lowers her voice. We will finish the ceremony when I return. The words pass through me without landing. When will that be? I don't know. Our registration window expires in 32 minutes. I know. Then tell me you will return before it closes. Seraphine looks at me. 6 years of love stand between us. 3 postponed ceremonies. 4 anniversaries interrupted by emergencies that somehow always belong to somebody else. 100 promises beginning with soon. 1,000 apologies ending with later. She reaches for my hand. I move it away. Only an inch. But Seraphine notices. Elara, I cannot ignore someone who may be in danger. I am not asking you to ignore her. Then what are you asking? The answer is so simple that I almost laugh. Choose me without making me beg. Something moves behind her eyes. Regret, perhaps, or irritation that I have chosen today to stop being patient. I will come back, she says. She always comes back. Later, after the emergency, after the meeting, after Celeste stops crying, after I have folded my disappointment small enough to fit inside an apology, Seraphine turns toward the doors. Seraphine, she stops. If you walk out now, do not expect to find me standing in the same place when you return. Her shoulders become rigid. For one breath, I believe she will turn around. She leaves anyway. The ceremonial doors close behind her with a sound so soft it almost feels polite. For several seconds, nobody moves. Then the registrar clears his throat. Lady Elara, shall I cancel today's union request? I look at the blank space beside my signature. Seraphine's name is already written there in dark blue ink. Perfect. Certain. Absent. Across the chamber, a little girl in a black velvet dress climbs down from her chair. She walks toward me holding a crown she has folded from silver wrapping paper. 2 women rise behind her. I recognize both immediately. Vesper Arden, whose companies have spent 10 years dismantling Seraphine's business empire one contract at a time. And Lyra Arden, the only negotiator Seraphine has ever called dangerous without sounding impressed. Her 2 greatest enemies. They were supposed to marry each other today. The little girl stops in front of me. She studies my face, then looks at the closed doors through which Seraphine disappeared. Did your queen forget you? The question is so simple that I cannot protect myself from it. I think she believed I would wait. The girl considers this. Then she places the paper crown beside my unsigned marriage document. My aunt says people only keep you waiting when they think you will still be there later. The warmer of the 2 women, Lyra, rests a hand on the child's shoulder. Mina. What? Mina asks. You did say that. Vesper's pale eyes move from the abandoned document to my bouquet, and finally to my face. There is no pity in her expression. Somehow, that makes it easier to breathe. Is there someone we can call? Lyra asks. I look toward the entrance. For 6 years, whenever Seraphine walked away, I called her. I apologized. I waited. I made it easier for her to return without confronting what leaving had cost me. Not today. No, I say. My voice shakes once, then it becomes steady. Vesper glances at the clock. 28 minutes remain. The registrar opens his mouth, probably to remind them that their own appointment is waiting. I speak before he can. You came here to marry each other. Yes, Vesper says. And my ceremony slot is still active? The registrar looks between us. Technically, Lyra's amber eyes narrow. Alara, whatever you are about to suggest, you should breathe first. I breathe. For the first time that morning, the air reaches the bottom of my lungs. Then I remove Seraphine's ring from my finger. I place it on top of the marriage ledger. The entire chamber goes silent again. I look at the two women my fiancé has spent a decade trying to defeat. Would either of you still like to get married today? Chapter 2. The Women Who Refused. Vesper does not answer immediately. Her silence is not uncertain. It is surgical. She studies me as though she is identifying a fracture nobody else can see. Lyra exhales slowly. The registrar looks ready to faint. Mina looks delighted. I think 3 brides would be prettier, she says. Mina, Lyra warns again. What? It would. I keep my gaze on Vesper. Seraphine has described her to me many times. Cold, ruthless, opportunistic, a woman who would turn another person's weakness into a weapon before the blood reached the floor. But Vesper does not move toward the documents. She moves them away from me. No, she says. The rejection strikes harder than I expect. Lyra's expression softens. Vesper continues before I can respond. I will not marry a woman while she is bleeding from someone else's decision. I am not bleeding. You removed a 6-year promise from your finger less than a minute ago. Her voice remains calm. That is not consent. That is shock-wearing armor. A bitter laugh escapes me. You are kinder than Seraphine said. I am not kind. Vesper places both hands behind her back. I am careful. The registrar pushes his spectacles higher. Perhaps we should all take a moment. We do not have a moment, Vesper says. Her attention shifts to the documents. What exactly happens when this registration window closes? The registrar hesitates. Lady Alara's commercial union petition expires. I know that part. Vesper's tone changes. It becomes the voice of the executive who has forced royal corporations to renegotiate contracts in public. What happens to the associated asset protections? The registrar glances at me. My confusion must be obvious. What asset protections? I ask. Lyra steps closer to the desk. The registrar swallows. Lady Alara's jewelry house was included as a protected marital enterprise under Queen Seraphine's commercial crown. My stomach tightens. I never agreed to transfer my company. It was not presented as a transfer, he says. It was filed as a shared asset safeguard. Vesper picks up the registration page and reads the lower section. A muscle moves in her jaw. What does that safeguard become if the union is not completed? The registrar looks miserable. The controlling corporate party may petition for temporary custodianship. Seraphine's corporation, Lyra says. Yes. I stare at the registrar. My designs would belong to Seraphine? Temporarily. How temporarily? That would depend on litigation. Vesper turns the page toward me. Years. My fingers go cold. Seraphine told me the marriage registration would protect my company. She never told me it could place my work under her control if the ceremony failed. Had she known? Of course she had known. Seraphine knows every clause before she signs. She reads contracts the way generals read battlefields. Lyra reaches for my abandoned ring, but does not touch it. Did Seraphine explain any of this? No. The word comes out too quietly. Mina takes my hand. Her fingers are small and warm. Vesper looks at the clock. 24 minutes remain. Own proposed union contains a multi-party business protection clause, she says. Lyra turns sharply toward her. Vesper, we are discussing options, not making decisions. Then Vesper looks at me. A temporary legal alliance could prevent Seraphine's company from claiming immediate custodianship. A partnership? Not strong enough. A contract? Not within 24 minutes. The registrar clears his throat. A registered multi-party marriage would transfer Lady Ilara's commercial protection to the Arden Trust immediately. Silence fills the chamber. I look at Lyra, then Vesper. You refused. I refused revenge, Vesper says. I did not refuse to stop someone from taking what belongs to you. Lyra moves beside her. We would need conditions. Name them. You retain complete control of your company. Yes. You may leave at any time after the emergency period. Yes. No romantic expectations. The words hurt in a strange way, although I do not know why. Yes. Vesper's gaze never leaves mine. 3 months. What? The legal challenge period is 90 days. After that, your company can be separated from all marital corporations. She places the paper crown Mina made beside my moonstone crown. For 3 months, we protect your assets, your workshop, and your right to decide what happens next. And then, we sign the separation. There is no hesitation in her voice, no hidden promise, no demand that I trust her forever, only a choice placed carefully in front of me. Lyra leans closer. You do not have to prove anything to Seraphine today. I know. You do not have to punish her. I know. You only have to protect yourself. The clock reads 11:27, 21 minutes. I spent 6 years believing love meant waiting until Seraphine was ready to place me first. Perhaps love should not require another person's permission. Prepare the documents, I tell the registrar. His mouth opens, then closes. Vesper does not celebrate. Lyra does not smile. They simply move to either side of me. Not in front, not behind. Beside, the registrar begins replacing names on the certificate. Mina squeezes my hand. Does this mean I get 3 aunts? Lyra laughs softly. No. Mina looks disappointed. Vesper glances at me. Marriage is not the reason we stayed. She turns the revised document toward me. But it may be the only way to protect what belongs to you. Chapter 3. 3 names. The registrar reads each condition twice. The marriage will remain legally reviewable for 90 days. My company will be held inside a protected trust, but no design, property, or account can be transferred without my written approval. Vesper and Lyra will retain separate assets. I will retain mine. No spouse may claim romantic, physical, or reproductive rights over another. That clause makes the witnesses exchange uncomfortable looks. I am grateful for it. My heart is still lying somewhere near the ceremonial doors. The registrar slides the contract forward. Ilara Vale, I sign first. My hand trembles when the pen touches the paper. Not because I am uncertain, because 6 years should feel heavier when they end. They do not. They feel like a door unlocking. Vesper Arden. Vesper signs with one decisive stroke. Lyra Arden. Lyra studies me before signing. Last chance to tell us no. I look at the clock. 11:43, 5 minutes remain. No, she signs. The registrar stamps the certificate. The sound echoes through the marble chamber. Once, twice, 3 times. By authority of the Royal Commercial Union Office, I recognize the legal marriage of Ilara Vale, Vesper Arden, and Lyra Arden. The musicians remain silent. Nobody knows what song belongs to this moment. Mina solves the problem by clapping. I laugh. It is a broken sound, but it is real. The ceremonial doors open. Seraphine enters with 4 guards behind her. She is still wearing her black wedding uniform. Not one strand of her dark hair has moved. She looks exactly as she did when she left, as though the last 27 minutes should not have changed anything. Her gaze finds me, then Vesper, then Lyra, then the certificate beneath the registrar's hand. Seraphine stops walking. What is this? Nobody answers. She crosses the room in controlled steps. Ilara. The way she says my name now is different. Not a decision, a warning. I remove my moonstone crown and place it beside Mina's paper one. You returned. I told you I would. The registrar begins gathering the duplicate certificates. Seraphine sees the 3 signatures. For the first time in 6 years, I watch certainty leave her face. You married them? Before the registration window closed. This is not a marriage. Vesper steps between Seraphine and the desk. The crown seal suggests otherwise. Seraphine's eyes become lethal. Stay out of this. I am legally incapable of doing that now. Lyra touches Vesper's arm. A warning. Not because she fears Seraphine. Because she knows Vesper does not. Seraphine looks at me again. Celeste's car was attacked. Is she alive? Yes. Then I am glad. Alara, you cannot possibly understand what you have done. I meet her gaze. For 6 years, every time you left, you told me we could finish things later. Her jaw tightens. This was different. It was always different. I take Seraphine's ring from the ledger and hold it toward her. She does not take it. Later had become our entire relationship. Her face goes still. I place the ring on the ceremonial desk between us. You returned later. Then I moved to stand beside my new wives. But later is no longer a place where you can find me. Seraphine stares at the ring. Behind us, the registrar seals all 3 copies of the certificate. The marriage is official, and for the first time since Seraphine walked away, I understand what I have done. I have not only married her enemies, I have moved my company into their protection. Seraphine slowly lifts her eyes. You have no idea why your company was linked to mine. A warning settles beneath her words. Vesper hears it too. What did you do? She asks. Seraphine does not look at her. She looks only at me. I protected Alara from a threat she never knew existed. Chapter 4. The Queen Who Stayed. The Arden estate does not look like the home of 2 ruthless corporate predators. It looks like a place someone fought to make safe. There are high stone walls, armed gates, and security towers hidden among cedar trees. But inside, Mina's drawings cover the kitchen refrigerator. Tiny shoes wait beside the entrance. A stuffed silver fox sits on the grand staircase wearing a crooked ribbon. I arrive with 1 suitcase. Vesper looks at it. That is all? I did not know what people pack for a 3-month emergency marriage. Lyra takes the suitcase before Vesper can. Usually more than grief and 2 dresses. I brought 4. Then we are saved. Lyra's humor is gentle. She does not use it to dismiss what happened. She uses it to make the air easier to breathe. Vesper walks ahead. Your room is in the east wing. The workshop is on the lower floor. Security has already moved your essential equipment from the Vale studio. I stop. You entered my studio? With your manager's authorization. She authorized that? After Seraphine's legal department sent a custodianship notice. The words strike like cold water. So quickly? 41 minutes after the ceremony ended. Vesper turns toward me. Whatever Seraphine intended, her corporation acted. I follow her downstairs. The lower floor has been transformed. My workbenches stand beneath large windows. My tools are arranged exactly as I left them. Velvet design boards cover one wall. The unfinished Moonstone collection waits inside locked glass cases. Vesper has recreated my entire studio. I touch the edge of my favorite work table. How? I own transport companies. That is not what I meant. She says nothing. Lyra answers for her. Vesper reviewed photographs of your studio and ordered the room rebuilt. In less than a day, she threatened 6 contractors. I did not threaten them. Vesper removes her gloves. I explain the cost of failure. Lyra smiles at me. That is how she threatens people. On the central table, I find my sketchbook. Beside it sits a cup of tea, the exact blend I drink while working. I turn toward Vesper. How did you know? Her expression does not change. Your studio manager. It is an answer, but not the whole one. Mina runs into the room wearing the silver paper crown. She carries a wooden box in both hands. I brought treasure. Inside are broken chains, loose beads, plastic gemstones, and 1 bent spoon. This is valuable, I say seriously. I know. May I use some of it? Her eyes widen. You can make something? I can try. She climbs onto the stool beside me. For the next hour, I forget that my wedding ended with 3 signatures and a threat. I turn the bent spoon into a small crescent moon. I thread blue beads along a broken chain. Mina watches every movement. Vesper stands near the doorway, reading messages. Lyra takes calls at the opposite table. Neither tells me what I should feel. Neither asks whether I regret the marriage. When I finish, I fasten the necklace around Mina's neck. She touches the crescent moon. It is beautiful. It is imperfect. So? I look at her. She shrugs. Things can be hurt and still stay. The room becomes too quiet. Mina looks toward Vesper. Aunt Vesper. Is Alara a queen now? No. Why not? Because marriage does not make someone a queen. Mina thinks about that. Then she looks at me. You stayed when you were sad. I cannot speak. She hugs me around the waist. You are the queen who stayed. Vesper's phone stops moving in her hand. Lyra turns away, pretending to examine the window. I rest my palm against Mina's hair. Temporary mama, I think. Temporary wife. Temporary home. 3 months. That evening, Vesper places a security report beside my dinner plate. There was an attempted entry at your original workshop. By whom? We do not know yet. Lyra reads over her shoulder. 2 men with creditor warrants. I look between them. My creditors? No, Vesper says. She opens a second file. Your father's, Chapter 5, What Seraphine Owned. I have not seen my father in 11 years. But his debts have found me anyway. The creditor file contains shell companies, forged guarantees, and my name written beneath loans I never signed. At the center of it all is Vale Heritage Holdings, my father's failed luxury corporation. He used my company as collateral? I ask. He tried, Vesper says. Lyra pours me water. Your jewelry house began as a subsidiary of his original company. Even after you bought your independence, several old ownership codes remained attached. I paid for every share. You did, Vesper says, but the creditors are arguing that the shares were purchased using family assets. That is absurd. It is also expensive to disprove. I stare at the pages. Seraphine knew. Yes. How long? Vesper's silence answers before she does. Approximately 18 months. 18 months. Seraphine knew my father's creditors were coming. She never told me. Instead, she convinced me to register my company beneath her corporate crown. I thought it was an act of faith, a wedding gift, a promise that our futures would finally become one. It was a shield built around me without my permission. Was she stealing the company? I ask. Vesper closes the file. I do not know. You usually know everything. No. I usually know what people do. Her pale gaze settles on me. I do not claim to know why they do it. Lyra sits beside me. The transfer documents may tell us more. What transfer documents? Vesper opens another folder. My company's ownership history appears across several pages. 6 months ago, 40% of my design rights moved into a Seraphine-controlled protection entity. 3 months ago, another 20% moved. Last week, the final 40% was approved for transfer. My entire life's work had been placed beneath Seraphine's corporation before our wedding. I push back from the table. She owned everything. Controlled. Vesper corrects. That is not better. No. My chair strikes the floor behind me. I trusted her. Neither woman tries to stop me as I walk away. I cross the estate blindly until I reach the greenhouse. Rain hits the glass roof. Rows of white orchids blur in front of me. The door opens. I expect Lyra. It is Vesper. She does not approach. Alara. I do not want another explanation. I did not bring one. Then why are you here? She lifts my coat. You forgot this. I almost laugh. Of course that is why she came. Vesper does not offer comfort. She offers warmth. Not promises. Not reasons. A coat. I take it. Our fingers touch. The contact lasts less than a second. It feels more honest than every speech Seraphine ever gave me. I should have seen it. I whisper. No, I signed documents. Documents designed by people who expected trust to make you careless. I let her control everything. You loved her. Vesper's voice becomes quieter. That is not the same as surrendering your intelligence. I look at her. You admired my work before the wedding. For the first time, Vesper's composure slips. Barely. How do you know? The tea, the studio, the placement of my tools. She says nothing. My manager would know what tea I drink. She would not know that I keep my engraving needles arranged by weight rather than size. Vesper looks through the rain-covered glass. I bought one of your anonymous pieces 7 years ago. Which one? The silver bird with the broken wing. I remember it. I created the piece after my mother died. It was the first design I released without the veil name. I tried to find the artist, Vesper says. You remained anonymous. Why? Because the piece understood something. What? That damage does not need to be hidden to become beautiful. The rain becomes louder. I step closer. How long have you known it was mine? 3 years. And you never said anything? You were Seraphine's partner. So? Vesper's eyes meet mine. So admiration does not grant me the right to enter someone else's life. The distance between us feels suddenly dangerous, not because she moves closer, because she refuses to. My phone rings. Seraphine's name lights the screen. For 1 second, my body remembers 6 years of obedience. Answer. Reassure her. Make her return easier. The phone keeps ringing. Vesper turns to leave. I stop her. Stay. She does. I reject the call. A message arrives immediately. The ownership documents were never meant to take your company. Meet me once and I will prove it. Below the message is a transfer authorization. Dated before the wedding, Seraphine had already begun returning my company before she abandoned the ceremony. Chapter 6. Seraphine's Truth. Seraphine's POV. Elara chooses a public meeting place. That is the first punishment. For 6 years, she met me anywhere I asked. My office, my car, private dining rooms where I could control every entrance and every conversation. Now she selects the central atrium of the Royal Trade Court. Vesper sits on her right, Lyra sits on her left. Elara sits between them, not hidden behind either woman, protected without being overshadowed. I place the ownership documents on the table. I transferred your company beneath my crown because your father's creditors were preparing a seizure. Elara does not touch the papers. You could have told me. Yes. The word costs me more than any excuse would. Her eyes sharpen. Then why didn't you? Because you would have confronted him. He used my name. You would have confronted him emotionally, publicly, and without legal protection. You mean I would have made a decision you could not control? Vesper remains silent. Her silence irritates me more than an accusation. I look only at Elara. I knew how to stop the creditors. So you decided I did not need to know. I decided you did not need to carry the fear before I had a solution. Elara leans back. The distance in her expression is worse than anger. You keep describing control as protection. I kept your company safe. You protected what I created. Her voice does not rise. You did not protect my right to understand my own life. Lyra slides the transfer pages closer to Elara. Why were you returning the company before the wedding? I answer honestly. Because the creditor threat had been contained. Elara studies the authorization dates. You never planned to keep it? No. Then why link the final transfer to our marriage registration? Tax protection, continuity, security, control. I close my eyes for one brief second. Yes. The admission leaves blood in my mouth. Elara looks toward the atrium windows. I spent 6 years telling myself that when you took decisions away from me, it was because you were stronger. I was trying to spare you. You were sparing yourself from the risk that I might disagree. Her words land precisely. Vesper has not spoken. She does not need to. Elara has learned to defend herself. And I am beginning to understand why she did not learn it beside me. I will return every right, I say, immediately. Without conditions? Yes. Even if I remain married to them? My body reacts before my face does. Vesper notices. Of course she does. Yes. Elara finally touches the documents. Why did you leave? The question is softer than the others. That makes it unbearable. Celeste's vehicle had been forced off the northern bridge. Her guard was unconscious. She called me because the attackers used my company's insignia. You believed it was connected to you. Yes. Was she dying? No. Was she alone? No. Did she have a physician? Yes. Did she ask for you? I cannot lie. Yes. Elara looks down. And that was enough. I thought you would understand. No. You thought I would wait. I reach across the table. She moves her hand before I touch it. The same inch she moved at the ceremony. It feels like a country between us. I came back. Later. Ilara. Later had become our entire relationship. I have heard the sentence before. This time I understand it. I protected her company from creditors. I protected her reputation from scandal. I protected her designs from theft. And when she asked me to protect 1 hour in which she needed to be first, I left. I am sorry, I say. Vesper's expression does not change. Lyra's does. There is pity in it. Not for Ilara, for me. Ilara gathers the documents. I believe you were trying to protect me. Hope moves painfully inside my chest. Then she continues. But good intentions do not return the years I spent becoming smaller, so your love would have enough room. She stands. Vesper and Lyra rise with her. Ilara, please. She stops. I will sign every ownership transfer, I say. I will dissolve every claim. I will fix this. Her eyes become wet. What if fixing it is not the same as getting me back? I cannot answer, because for the first time, I am facing a problem I cannot solve by removing Ilara's choices. Chapter 7. The Shape of Their Love. Ilara's POV life at the Arden estate develops a rhythm. Vesper wakes before dawn. She drinks coffee without sugar and reads security reports beside the kitchen window. Lyra wakes late, steals half of Vesper's breakfast, and answers business calls while braiding Mina's hair. I work in the lower studio until my fingers ache. At noon, tea appears beside me. Vesper never mentions placing it there. At 3, Lyra enters with scandal reports and teaches me how to answer questions without surrendering information. Do not defend your marriage, she says. The public thinks I married you for revenge. Perhaps you did. I did not. Then say nothing. That will make them believe it. Lyra smiles. People believe whatever gives them the most exciting version of someone else's pain. Your job is not to correct every imagination. What is my job? To decide which truth deserves your voice. That evening, reporters gather outside the estate. They shout questions through the gates. Did Ilara seduce the Arden women before the ceremony? Was Queen Seraphine betrayed? Is the marriage legal? Is it romantic? Lyra walks outside alone. Vesper watches from the security room. I stand beside her. Aren't you going with Lyra? She does not need me. The answer is immediate, not dismissive. Trusting. On the monitor, Lyra steps before the cameras. Ilara Vale's private life is not a public trial, she says. Her company remains hers. Her work remains hers. Any person attempting to exploit her abandoned ceremony for commercial advantage will answer to the Arden Legal Trust. A reporter shouts, "Does she love either of you?" Lyra pauses. Then she looks directly into the central camera. That is a question only Ilara has the right to answer. Something inside me shifts. Seraphine always answered for me. She called me shy when I was silenced, gentle when I was angry, patient when I was afraid of losing her. Lyra protects my voice by refusing to use it. Vesper protects my workshop by reinforcing every lock. Their love languages are different. I should not call them love. Not yet. But the word has begun to wait at the edge of my thoughts. 3 weeks pass. One night, I find Vesper in the studio holding the silver bird with the broken wing. She brought it from her private collection. You kept it. I told you I did. There are fingerprints on the base. I touch it when I am thinking. I smile. That is terrible conservation. I own several conservation laboratories. You cannot threaten oxidation. I can try. I laugh. Vesper looks at me as though the sound matters. The room becomes still. I step closer. You looked at my work for years. Yes, but never at me? Her voice lowers. I looked. My breath catches. Vesper does not move. You belonged to someone else. I was not property. No. Her eyes hold mine. But your heart had made a choice. I respected it, even when I believed the choice was hurting you. Why? Because wanting someone does not make their boundaries inconvenient. I am close enough to see the pale line of an old scar beneath her jaw. Do you want me now? For the first time, Vesper Arden looks afraid. Yes. The honesty passes through me like heat. I lift my hand toward her face. The studio door opens. Lyra stands there. Her smile appears a second too late. Mina cannot sleep. Vesper steps back. I lower my hand. Lyra turns before either of us can speak. I find her later on the balcony. You were avoiding me, I say. I was giving you privacy. You looked hurt. That is not a crime. Lyra. She grips the stone railing. Vesper and I were never marrying for love. I know. No, you do not. She turns toward me. Mina's parents died without naming a permanent guardian. Our competitors challenged Vesper's custody because they claimed our household lacked legal stability. So the marriage was for Mina. Yes. Then why did you agree to marry Vesper? Because I love Mina. That is not the whole answer. Lyra laughs without humor. You have become inconveniently observant. I wait. Her eyes shine. Because I love Vesper too. The words hurt. Not because I am surprised, because a selfish part of me has already begun wanting both of them. She knows? I ask. Yes. And? She loves me, just not in the way I once hoped. I look through the balcony doors. Vesper is kneeling beside Mina's bed. She listens as Mina whispers something serious into her ear. Lyra watches her. The longing in her face is quiet and old. Why marry me? I ask. To protect you. That is not enough reason. No. Lyra faces me fully. That is why we gave you 3 months. Before I can answer, Mina appears in the doorway. She rubs one eye. Are you all fighting? No, Lyra says. Mina looks at me. Good. Because Aunt Vesper said our first wedding was supposed to make us a legal family, but this wedding made us a real one. Vesper appears behind her. Her face becomes still. Mina smiles sleepily. Then she says the thing none of us are ready to hear. Can Alara stay after the 3 months? Chapter 8. The Right Thing, Too Late. 1 month before the deadline, Seraphine returns every ownership right. No conditions. No hidden control. No request that I leave Vesper and Lyra. She holds a public press conference and admits that my company was placed beneath her corporation without my informed consent. The admission damages her reputation. 3 board members resign. Her stock falls 11% before noon. She does it anyway. I watch the broadcast from the Arden kitchen. Seraphine stands alone behind the podium. Alara Vale created every design associated with the Vale name, she says. Her work was protected through legal structures she did not fully understand because I did not trust her with the truth. Reporters begin shouting. Seraphine continues. I believed protection gave me the right to decide for her. Her eyes move toward the camera. I was wrong. Lyra lowers her coffee. Vesper closes the report in front of her. Seraphine's voice changes. Only slightly, but I hear it. I protected everything she created, except the one thing she actually asked me to protect. She pauses. Her place beside me. The broadcast ends. The room remains silent. Mina looks at me. Is she sorry? Yes. Does that fix it? I do not know how to answer. Vesper does. No. Mina frowns. Then why say sorry? Because doing the right thing is still right, even when it does not earn a reward. I look at Vesper. She does not look back. She is giving me privacy while sitting 3 feet away. That afternoon, Seraphine sends one message, one final conversation. No pressure, no contract, no request. I only want to return the truth I should have given you years ago. I agree. We meet in the old royal gardens, where Seraphine first asked me to become her partner. 6 years ago, she placed a black diamond ring in my palm and said she had never trusted anyone enough to offer them a future. At the time, I mistook being trusted with her future for being included in her present. Now she stands beneath the same archway without guards, without an assistant, without Celeste. I ended all contact with her, Seraphine says. I close my eyes. That is not what I asked. I know. Celeste was not the problem. She called, and I left. You wanted to leave. Seraphine flinches. You wanted to be needed by someone whose emergencies made you feel powerful. I needed things you could not solve. Like what? To be chosen. Her eyes become wet. I did choose you. You chose our house, our company, our future. You chose every part of me you could protect with money or authority. I step closer. But when choosing me required disappointing someone else, you always asked me to understand. Seraphine looks away. I thought your patience meant you were safe. It meant I was afraid. Of me? Of becoming difficult enough for you to leave. The answer breaks something in her. She sits on the stone bench. For the first time, Queen Seraphine looks smaller than the title surrounding her. My mother left whenever I failed her, she says. I learned that love returned only after the problem was solved. I sit opposite her. So you kept leaving first? Yes. Her hands closed together. And every time you waited, I believed we were strong. I was disappearing. I know that now. The honesty hurts more than denial would. Seraphine removes a document from her coat. Not a contract, a letter. I am not asking you to come back. I stare at her. She places the letter between us. I wrote every reason you should not. Why? Because if I love you, my final act cannot be another attempt to control your decision. The gardens become quiet. I pick up the letter. Can doing the right thing too late repair the damage? I ask. Or does it only prove the person always knew better? Seraphine's eyes close. Perhaps both. I leave with the letter unopened. That night, Vesper and Lyra are waiting in the library. 2 folders sit on the table. I already know what they contain. Separation papers. Chapter 9. Permission to leave Lyra's POV. I have negotiated wars between corporations. I have convinced hostile boards to sign agreements they swore they would burn. I have watched Vesper destroy men who believed coldness made them invincible. None of it prepares me for placing separation papers in front of Alara. She looks at the folders, then at us. The deadline is not until next week. We wanted you to have time, Vesper says. Alara's expression becomes unreadable. Time for what? To choose freely. Vesper's voice is controlled. Too controlled. I know her well enough to recognize fear when it wears discipline. Alara looks at me. Do you want me to sign? No. The truth escapes before I can soften it. Vesper turns toward me. I continue. But what I want cannot become another cage around you. Alara sits opposite us. You both decided this without asking me. Vesper's jaw tightens. The contract expires. That is not what I said. She touches the separation documents. You made a decision about my future because you believed it would protect me. Vesper becomes very still. Alara laughs once. It is not a happy sound. Do you understand how familiar that feels? Alara, I say, we are not Seraphine. No, you are not. She looks between us. That is why this hurts. Vesper moves the folder closer to Alara. If you stay because Mina needs you, because your company is protected here, or because Seraphine hurt you, then we have failed. And if I stay because I love you? The room stops breathing. Vesper's face reveals nothing. Mine reveals too much. Alara looks directly at me. I know you love Vesper. Yes. I know Vesper loves you. Yes. Vesper looks at me sharply. I almost smile. There are many kinds of love. Vesper's love for me has never been romantic in the way I once wanted. But it is fierce, permanent, chosen every day. Alara turns toward Vesper. And I know you want me. Vesper does not hide. Yes. Do you love me? A long silence follows. Then Vesper answers. Yes. The word changes the room. Alara's eyes fill. She looks at me again. What about you? My throat closes. I could give her a graceful answer. I could say 3 months is not enough. I could pretend my feelings are only affection. But Alara has lived too long inside careful lies. I love you, I say. Not because you were abandoned. Not because you married us. Not because Mina calls you temporary mama. My voice breaks. I love you because you create beauty, without pretending broken things were never broken. I love you because you listen when Mina speaks. I love you because Vesper is softer when you enter a room. And I love you because this house feels less like a fortress when you are inside it. Alara wipes one tear away. Then why are you asking me to leave? We are not asking. Vesper's voice is quieter now. We are making sure the door is open. Footsteps sound in the hallway. Mina enters holding the silver crescent necklace. She looks at the papers. What are those? Nobody answers. She walks closer. Are they work papers? Alara kneels beside her. They are papers that say I can leave. Mina's face crumples. Do you want to? I do not know what everyone else wants me to do. Mina looks at Vesper, then at me, then at Alara. Why does everyone who loves someone keep giving them permission to leave? No one speaks. Mina's small hands close around Alara's. Why don't they ask them to stay? Alara looks at us. I understand the mistake immediately. We were so determined not to become Seraphine that we made another decision for Alara. We assumed freedom required distance. Perhaps freedom also means being wanted openly. Vesper stands. Her hands are trembling. It is the first time I have ever seen them do that. Alara! Her voice nearly fails. Then she forces the words out. I want you to stay. Alara begins crying. Vesper steps closer. Not because of the contract. Not because of your company. Not because Mina needs stability. Mina looks offended, but remains silent. Vesper kneels beside Alara. I want you to stay because every room changes when you enter it. Because you touch my collection as though the pieces are still alive. Because you make Lyra laugh when she is frightened. Because Mina trusts you. Because I trust you. Vesper looks toward me. And because I do not want a future that requires either of you to become smaller. I move beside them. Alara, stay. She looks at the separation papers, then at us. The choice is still yours, I whisper. Yes, she says. Her hand settles over both folders. It is. Chapter 10. The Women I Choose. Alara's POV. The 90-day deadline arrives at noon. The royal registrar returns to the same ceremonial chamber. The same clock hangs above the desk. The same marble staircase rises behind us. But nothing feels the same. I am not wearing the moonstone crown. Mina wears the silver paper crown, repaired with gold thread. Vesper stands on my left. Lyra stands on my right. Seraphine waits near the entrance. She requested permission to attend. I gave it. Not because she has a claim on this moment. Because I no longer fear what seeing her will make me feel. The registrar places 3 documents on the desk. The first dissolves my marriage to Vesper and Lyra. The second returns us to separate commercial identities. The third extends the marriage without a deadline. All 3 require my signature. Seraphine approaches before the registrar begins. She holds no ring. No contract. No flowers. I wanted to return something, she says. She gives me the unopened letter from the gardens. I look at it. I already have this. No. She touches the back. There is a second page hidden beneath the seal. I open it. It is a release from every promise I ever made her. Not a legal release. A personal one. You do not owe me patience because I finally learned how much yours cost. You do not owe me forgiveness because I returned what was always yours. You do not owe me love because I arrived after you stopped waiting. I look at Seraphine. You changed. I am trying. Celeste? Safe. Receiving treatment. Her attackers were connected to one of my former directors. Do you still care about her? Yes. I appreciate the truth, but caring for her did not require abandoning you. I understand that now. I close the letter. Do you want me back? Seraphine's eyes shine. Yes. She does not step closer. But wanting you is not the same as being entitled to you. For 6 years, I imagined the day Seraphine would finally speak to me this way. I thought it would heal everything. Instead, it brings grief. Not because it is meaningless, because it is real. And it came after I learned to survive without it. I believe you loved me, I say. Seraphine nods once. I believe you thought you were protecting me. Another nod. And I believe you may never leave someone waiting at an altar again. Her breath trembles. But I cannot return to a love that needed to lose me before it learned to see me. The pain on her face is quiet. She accepts it. No argument. No command. No promise to fix what cannot be repaired. I understand. I think she does. Seraphine loved me enough to come back. But love arriving late cannot erase the years I spent being second. She looks toward Vesper and Lyra. Do not make her ask to be chosen. Vesper's expression remains calm. She will never have to. Lyra takes my hand. Because she will be doing the choosing. Seraphine looks at me one final time. Then she walks toward the ceremonial doors. She pauses before leaving. Not because she expects me to stop her. Because this time, she understands what the moment costs. Goodbye, Alara. Goodbye, Seraphine. The doors close. The registrar waits. I turn toward the desk. Vesper places the separation folder in front of me. Lyra places the permanent marriage document beside it. Neither woman speaks. They have asked me to stay. Now they are allowing my answer to belong to me. Mina climbs onto the chair. Can I say something? The registrar looks uncertain. Vesper nods. Mina points at the separation papers. I do not like those. A laugh passes through the chamber. I touch the folder. For 6 years, I waited for someone else to decide whether I was important enough. Seraphine decided for me, because she believed she knew how to keep me safe. Vesper and Lyra almost released me, because they feared wanting me would become another cage. All 3 women loved me. But love is not only what a person feels, love is what their choices allow you to become. Beside Seraphine, I became patient enough to disappear. Beside Vesper, I learned that protection could arrive without stealing my voice. Beside Lyra, I learned that being understood did not require explaining away my pain. Beside Mina, I learned that staying was not weakness when the place I stayed also chose me. I pick up the separation papers. Vesper's face becomes unreadable. Lyra stops breathing. Then I tear the papers in half. Mina cheers. I tear them again. The registrar makes a distressed noise. There are official procedures for rejecting documents. I know. I place the pieces on top of the old marriage ledger. Then I sign the permanent extension. Ilara Vale. My own name. Still mine. Vesper looks at the signature. Are you certain? Yes. Lyra's eyes fill with tears. Say it again. I turn toward them. I choose you. Vesper's composure breaks. Only slightly. It is enough. I take her hand. Then Lyra's. I choose the woman who protected my work before she believed I would ever love her. Vesper lowers her head. I choose the woman who taught me that my truth did not require public permission. Lyra squeezes my hand. I choose the child who placed a paper crown beside my broken wedding and reminded me that imperfect things can still stay. Mina throws her arms around my waist. And I choose myself. The registrar stamps the new certificate. Once. Twice. 3 times. This time, the musicians know what to play. Vesper touches my face with the same careful restraint she has shown from the beginning. May I kiss you? The question nearly breaks me. Yes. Her lips meet mine. Slowly. No possession. No claim. A question answered. When we part, Lyra is crying openly. I pull her toward me. You too. Her laugh shakes. That is not a proper proposal. I have had enough ceremonies. She kisses me beneath the repaired paper crown. Mina holds above our heads. The witnesses applaud. The cameras outside begin flashing. For once, the noise does not frighten me. Vesper's hand rests at my back. Lyra's fingers remain linked with mine. Mina stands between us, wearing a crown made from something discarded. At 12:18 p.m., exactly 90 days after Seraphine left our wedding, I stop waiting. Later had become my entire relationship. She returned later. She apologized later. She changed later. And perhaps somewhere beyond this chamber, Seraphine will become a better woman, because she finally understood what leaving cost. But later is no longer a place where she can find me. I am here, inside the life I chose, with the women who never assumed I would stay. Seraphine loved me enough to come back. Vesper and Lyra loved me enough to keep the door open, ask me to stay, and still let the final decision remain mine. That is the difference. Love should not ask you to disappear while someone else decides when your life can begin. Love should not keep promising that you will matter later. Sometimes the bravest choice is not forgiving the person who finally changed. Sometimes it is accepting that their growth does not require your return. And sometimes the greatest revenge is not marrying your former fiancé's enemies. It is discovering that beside them, you are no longer anyone's second choice. So tell me in the comments, would you choose the woman who finally changed, or the women who chose you when they owed you nothing? Comment, I choose myself. If you believe love should never require you to wait until someone decides you are important. Like the story, subscribe and turn on notifications for more emotional betrayal, marriage revenge, and powerful romance dramas. Because the next story begins with another abandoned bride. But this time, the woman waiting outside the ceremony has been in love with her for 10 years.